Hello, this is Steve from Sailing Allison. It's a nice day actually today, after what's been quite a horrible week weather-wise. Reminds me of back to when I was a child, you know, kind of 5, 6, 7 degrees in the day and like rain and sleet basically. I had a good week last week. I've got a whole load of bits off the engine and a whole load of bits in a box. Hopefully it'll be possible for somebody else to put them back together. So what I'm going to do today is move from the electrics, which is pretty much done, to the water. I'm going to take the raw water feed off. I'll probably take the impeller off as well, and I'll drain as much of the water out of the cooling system as I possibly can. But first I've got another little task to do. It looks like all 3 of my batteries are completely shot. So I've got a lithium ion charger battery that you can use to start as an emergency battery to start cars and so on. So I'm going to hook that up instead. In the medium term, I'm going to get myself a bench power supply, and then I can see whether I can recharge these batteries, maybe repair them for a bit. But of course, I'm going to 48 volt lithium ion in the longer term, so I'm not going to need these batteries for long, so it's not worth replacing them. Right, so after a bit of fiddling about, I think I've got a solution that works. So I've just disconnected the main batteries that are under there, because they're not doing anything, and all it would do would drain the lithium battery. So this is the lithium battery that I've got. Amazingly, this tiny little thing, I mean, I'll show you my hand in comparison, you know, so it's about the size of my hand. That's how much, I'll tell you how much it is. That is, I think, about 14 amp hours. So just an incredible difference from lead acid batteries. So I've got it connected in via the cigarette lighter, and the switch is on there, and it appears to be powering everything, although the regulation seems to be pretty poor on the 12 volt output, so my gas detector keeps complaining. In fact, yeah, so it keeps the current, the voltage seems to wobble all over the place. I'm going to do a bit of probing actually with my multimeter and see what's actually happening there. After a bit of fiddling around, I think that I know what's going on. So it appears that the battery has some kind of cut-off on the output, so that if no load is connected for a while, it kind of cuts itself off. It does appear to be able to provide power while it's charging. So I'm just going to leave it as it is now. Seems to be regulating properly, so I'm getting a nice steady 12 volts there. So I'm going to leave it now as it is and see how it goes. So this is where we got to last week. As you can see, all of this electronics has been removed. This solenoid's still there because I can't really get at the bolts. I've tied all the cables up. I've removed the throttle cable and the fuel cutoff cable. So the next thing I'm going to do is here, this is where the raw water comes in. I'm going to take this pipe off and start moving round over the engine, and then this is the impeller pump here. I'll probably remove that as well. That's that done. In the end, the simplest thing was just to cut the pipe off. I'm sure that once I've got the engine out, it'll be easy enough to get the end of the pipe off there. And of course the new whoever buys the engine will no doubt need to route the raw water feed somewhere else. Next thing to do is the impeller pump. So that's here. You can see it's driven by this belt. The input comes in here, output's there. So just so that it's going to be easier to pull the engine out, I'm going to take this pipe off, and then it won't be in the way when I come to kind of put straps around it and lift the engine out. In a quick diversion, I'm actually taking the mainsail off because it's quite nice and dry and sunny, so it'll be nice and dry. I just need to make sure that I remember how the reefs go. So it's attached onto that little loop with a bowline. It goes under the boom, and then it goes around to the leech of the sail. So it's obviously comes in the starboard side of the leech, comes out the port side of the leech, comes back to this little pulley or block, and then comes through there, runs along the boom, and then ties off at the front of the boom there. Morning, this is Steve, Sailing Allison. Pretty successful day yesterday. I managed to get all of the water system unconnected, so I took the raw water feed off and removed the impeller pump. So that's all done. I've drained the water cooler on the other side as well. So today I'm going to try and disconnect and pull out the oil pressure gauge. So that should be okay, I think. The oil pressure gauge comes out here, and this pipe then whirls around and then goes up here, round the back of this unit here, and then out. So that you can finally see it there. So that's my task for today. Right, that's the first bit got off. So that was easy enough. So the pipe's here, trace it round and into the back. It's actually right in here. I don't know if you can see that there. That's there. And there's another joint here, so I can take that off. So here's the first bit. There we go. This is where it goes into the gauge, and then it goes round here. And behind this bracket, which is for the radar, would you believe? Down there, below. And then it goes through here, there. So I'm probably going to end up having to cut this, but let's see how we do. So here's the next bit. As you see, I did have to cut it in the end. So there's the oil pressure gauge. That was easy enough. So I'm going to tidy up now by covering over this hole in a reasonably waterproof way. Luckily, I found the top of a plastic cleaning tub, and which was exactly the right size to fit in the hole. So a few bits of duct tape over the top of it, and I think we've got a pretty waterproof seal.